right, let's give you, we want to do the next 3 weeks before we vote, the best news analysis that we can possibly do. And that means it'll be better than anybody else. That's why you're here watching the No Spin News and listening to it on the radio. All right. So I'm going to give you the swing state. This is the latest swing state survey, the latest. I'm giving you one. Okay. Let's go to Pennsylvania. We got American Pulse poll. It's got Trump at 51, Harris at 50. Problem with this is that it's skewed female, 52% female, 46 male. That means Trump's leading by more than one, okay? Because females are going to vote for Harris predominantly. And if you have a 6-point spread, that's going to show up in the poll. Michigan, 15 electoral votes. This is a AARP poll, okay? Liberal organization, AARP. Trump 49, Harris 48. But get this, female 54% polled, males 46. 8-point spread, that's ridiculous. AARP, putting your thumb on a scale. Stop it. Be honest, all right? They got Trump ahead of Harris by 1. He's probably ahead by 3. Wisconsin, 10 electoral votes. Insider advantage poll. Tie, 48-48. Insider advantage would not give us their gender breakdown. That's never a good sign, is it? Yeah, we're not giving O'Reilly the numbers. No. Okay. Georgia, Trafalgar, which leans right. 16 electoral votes. Trump 46, Harris 45. But get this, female 55%, male 45. Trafalgar, look, come on. You lean right and you're doing a 10-point spread? Jeez, what is that all about? All right, North Carolina, 16 electoral votes. Rasmussen leans right. -6, female 53, male 47, Trump 51, Harris 46. I think North Carolina will go to Trump. Arizona, 11 electoral votes. Fair gender breakdown, 48 male, 51 female. Way to go. This is a Siena College, New York Times poll. They're fair. Gender breakdown. It's got Trump 51, Harris 45. That's a big spread for Trump. I don't know if it's that big there. Finally, Nevada, 6 electoral votes. Trafalgar, gender breakdown, male 52, female 47. What's that all about? More males than females? Got Harris beating Trump by 1, 46-45. That is a crazy state, Nevada. I cannot call that state. 93 electoral votes in those 7 swing states I just gave you. That will tell the tale. Okay. All right, election integrity. So we did this poll last week, comes from Marist College NPR. It's a left-leaning poll. And it says, how concerned are you that this year's elections will be fraudulent? All right, very concerned, somewhat concerned, 57, not concerned, 43. So most Americans are concerned there will be fraud in the vote. So we looked around for a guest who's involved in this fraud business, and we found a guy in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Sunrise, which is right next to Fort Lauderdale. His name is Steve Stern. He's got a podcast, the Steve American Show on Rumble. He's a vice chair of the Broward Republican Executive Committee, so he's involved in the fray, and he joins us now from South Florida. You also run a company called Flag Shirt, which sells memorabilia, and you got plenty of it on there, Steve. Way to go. And as a marketeer myself, I can respect what you're doing there. So do you have any data? And I don't want to relitigate 20, okay? That's ridiculous to do that. But do you have any data now that indicates any state may have a fraudulent election?
We have a big election security meeting with 1 million people. It's actually going on this afternoon while we're talking tonight. And we have 1 million people coming on, and our experts are going on. So Greg Stenstrom, who's in Pennsylvania, is at the Supreme Court as we speak. He sent a big lawsuit out showing what could happen and where the fraud could be. So we're following him. Linda Sinkowitz comes on all the time, and she talks about how she can give you 500 people that voted twice in any county or who are registered twice. Now, our biggest problem is there's a plus and a minus to the poll watchers and poll workers. So if you want to be a poll watcher or poll worker, there's still time. Protectthevote.com, that's the Republican Party. It's hard to contact them, but they will contact you if you sign up. And the good news is that we have 200,000 poll watchers and poll workers. That is a plus of 100,000 over the last election.
Is that
That's
all Republicans, the 200,000 number?
Yes, that's just Republicans.
Okay.
And here's some of the problems, though, as you've probably heard. Detroit only allowed us 50 poll watchers and poll workers against their 1,500 Democrats. So the Republican Party sued them, and they're able to get more, but not enough. Same thing in Philadelphia. All the left-leaning cities that are going to make a difference, that's where the problem is. And I think the biggest problem is, how are we going to know what's happening if we don't have communication? And so my team of high-end election security people, I'm not an expert, but I have all the experts, Cleta Mitchell, Nilsa Alvarez, Dr. Rick Richards, Captain Seth Kessel, Bill McGinley. Many experts come on and tell us what's going on. And we're streaming this all over the world. I mean, it's not just happening
here. That's all so far I'm fine with. And as you know, there's been voter fraud from John Adams, Thomas Jefferson. There's always been voter fraud. There always will be voter fraud. There will be people that are dead and other people vote for them. People registered 18 times under aliases, and it's impossible for the system to track them all down. It's when it reaches critical mass. So you're correct when the suspect precincts, Detroit, absolutely suspect, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Las Vegas, Nevada, Maricopa County, Phoenix, Arizona. These are the places historically that have had trouble. And the zone should be flooded. But here's my question. If you're a poll watcher working for the GOP, the Republicans, it's almost impossible for you to know if somebody's voting when they shouldn't vote. You don't know who these people are. You don't know what their registration status is. Correct? So what does a poll watcher do?
Well, that's very true. And we have a lot of people cleaning the voter rolls over the last year. The big thing that we find is the illegal aliens voting. That's going to be our big thing. How do we stop the illegal aliens?
But how do you know? With a poll watcher doesn't know whether somebody's undocumented or an American citizen. How can they possibly know that?
That cannot happen. It's got to come from the people that are researching this and doing all this. We got many people doing this. The states, it's up to each state to do this. It's up
to each state has to do it. And
I will say this.
Therein lies the problem. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I will say this, that the RNC is doing more than they have ever done. Now, it's difficult getting together with them because, we can't get a hold of Susie Wiles. She won't answer the phone. Laura Trump, Michael Watley. Luckily, Horace Epstein helped us. We got Bill McKinley, who came on our Zoom meeting today and talked about how the RNC is doing a lot more than they did 2 years ago and 4 years ago. That's going to help us. Now, do I have all the answers? No. That's the big problem.
All right. And I'm not asking for all the answers, but what I would like you to do, if you would, is that after the election, and keep us posted, if you see something between now and Election Day that's wrong, and you can certify that it's wrong, okay, that I could see it, because then I'll go in heavy. But afterward, I'm sure you'll do a post-ops, no matter who wins, and find out if there are any places that are suspect. See, I still don't know where Zuckerberg's money went. After all this time, I don't know where $300 million went in the 2020 election. I know the counties, there were, I think, 13 or 14 of them in the swing states. But where did the money go? Who got it? Some human being had to get this money. And that, to me, is the most disturbing thing that happened in all of 2020. Last word.
Well, I think that we got to vote. That's part of the problem. We had a lot of people say they may not want to vote because the election could be stolen. And that's crazy because if you don't vote, your people aren't going to win. Now, the good news is the early voting, as you would know, there's more people voting early. We got a lot of people that are voting on election day, which I always say is tough because what could happen on election day is that it's possible just what happened in Arizona. They backed up the machines and people left. So we lost 5%. So I say vote early and we got to win this election because this is the end of the world if we don't win this
All
election.
right.
So
Well, keep us posted, Steve. Anything you document, we are interested in hearing. Appreciate it very much. Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach, measuring your metabolism through your breath. The app shows whether you're burning fat or carbs and provides tailored guidance to improve nutrition, workouts, sleep, and more. Simply breathe into the Lumen each morning to understand your metabolism. Then, based on your measurements, Lumen offers a personalized daily nutrition plan. Is this unbelievable? Now, your metabolism is your body's engine, and optimal metabolic health leads to benefits like easier weight management, better energy, improved fitness, and better sleep. Lumen's recommendations enhance metabolic health, even track your cycle and menopause onset. So, if you want to take the next step in improving your health, please go to lumen.me, M-E/Bill to get 15% off. That's LUMEN.ME/Bill for 15% off. Thanks, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode. Now, our pal and 28 years at CBS, Bernie Goldberg, writes a very perceptive column on his website, bernardgoldberg.com, about all of this. And Goldberg, for my money, is the most qualified guy in the country to weigh in on it. Not me, him. I worked at CBS for less than a year, CBS National. I worked local, Channel 2, for a couple of years in New York, which was a great experience, but national was horrible. Anyway, Goldberg joins us from Raleigh, North Carolina, where he's on the run from the storms. The hurricanes follow him around wherever he is. If he's in Florida, the storm comes. So if you see Goldberg, okay, anywhere in the world, you
run.
Book it out as fast as you can because the storm will come. Okay, did I set that up in your estimation in a fair way, CBS?
Yeah, I think you did. It's the middle of the three that I'd like to talk about, the Tony Dokapel thing. First of all, the questions that he asked were perfectly 100% legitimate. He asked it in a respectful way. It was a tough interview, but fair enough. Mr. Coates went to Israel for 10 days, 10 days in Israel and the West Bank, and comes back with a book. That's not bad. I have two problems with what happened. The first problem is that the young leftist woke crowd got angry at him and went to management. This is not the first time this kind of stuff happened. Happened at the New York Times when the opinion editor had the gall, the audacity to publish a column, an op-ed column by U.S. Senator, conservative U.S. Republican Senator Tom Cotton. And the snowflakes went crazy, and the editor lost his job. Okay, this is similar to what's happening now. So that's the first part. But what's worse than the woke crowd going to management and saying, "Oh, this was improper, this interview. We didn't like the tone." What's far worse, in my opinion, is that the grown-ups, the executives, caved. They caved in a public conference call when anybody can get on it from the company. They dressed Tony Dokapel down. That was wrong. And the last graph in my column, Bill, which is the key statement, I think, if executives aren't going to stand up to the cancel culture mob, then stop calling yourselves journalists. That's simple. Don't call yourself a journalist if you're going to cave to the woke mob.
Why did they cave?
Because that's what management is afraid of, what's going to happen. They're afraid of their own staffs. the idea that this could have happened when I was there or when you were there is laughable. I mean, I reported to people who covered the Korean War. You think they're gonna fold for some 20-something-year-old leftist who says we don't like the way you're doing it? This is crazy, and it's part of the journalistic culture these days. It's not unusual. It's actually, Bill, to expand the subject a little bit, it's not unusual in corporate America, actually.
Because I understand that, but the mission is different in the journalistic corporations than it is in Toys R Us or whatever.
It's one thing to listen to everybody who wants to weigh in. You could listen to them, but you don't let the youngest, most leftist
and humiliate the guy who did it, and humiliate the guy who did his job. So, I mean, any journalist, you, me, anybody else, seasoned, knows, been there, done that, cliche, sorry, but any journalist knows that that guy he did his job. He should have done that. Now he had an axe to grind. He converted to Judaism. I understand that. Probably should have said that up top. But
well, I'm not even sure about that. Why is it? Because is it interesting that he's Jewish? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's all. It doesn't mean he can't ask anything. But I'm a big full disclosure guy.
Okay, but we don't question the motives. We know a woman is a woman, but we don't question a woman's motives if she's talking about a subject involving feminism. We don't question Mr. Coates's motives because he's a person of color who might side with other people of color in the Middle East.
All right, but again, it doesn't hurt to have full disclosure of everything, in my opinion. The more that folks know. Now, let me go over to, you said that's not your top priority. I understand the woke culture, and I just hammer them. You know that. All three networks, and they're never coming back. Ever. They're gone. All right, and the cables are worse, and they're never coming back either. Once Trump wins or loses, it'll just be crash landing for all of them. That's just what's going to happen, because nobody trusts them. Nobody trusts any of them. Now, the 60 Minutes thing, I think, is more important than the morning news thing, and here's why. There is a deep suspicion that CBS News, with all its power, is helping Kamala Harris. So why not put out the whole transcript? I mean, I don't understand why they don't do it.
If that's your question, I totally agree with that.
Okay.
Totally.
Well, why won't they then?
I don't know for sure, but I could tell you that it might be because journalists don't like to hand over their notes. No,
but it's on tape. It's on tape. The whole thing's on tape, Bernie. 45, they ran 20. There's 25 minutes on tape. Just put out the transcript. No notes. Here's what she said.
Oh, a transcript of what she said. Hold on, Bill. Hold on. A journalistic organization isn't going to want to give the stuff that they didn't air. Now, they should in this case because of people's suspicions.
Right.
Now, listen, I've been in 1,000, and I mean literally at least 1,000 editing rooms where I've had a choice between a longer soundbite or a shorter soundbite.
Everybody knows that.
So what they may have done may have been totally legitimate, but
then put it out.
Because of what you accurately said, because of the suspicions, put it out, get it over with. Put out the you know what? Put out the whole interview on your website.
Yeah. I mean,
what CBS.com.
Why not? You'll get more eyeballs. So that tells me there's something wrong. My suspicion, if you're not putting it out, and it would benefit you if you did put it out. It would benefit CBS. Right. If it was an honest presentation and they did it straightforward and there's deep suspicion they didn't, you clear it up right away and you drive people to your website to look at it. You win across the board.
Let me tell you what some people on the right are thinking out loud. You're not saying it, by the way. You're saying it could happen. Right. And I agree with you that it could happen. But here's what they're saying out loud. CBS puts out the longer version for the promotional tease so that people will watch the actual show. And that was, forgive the cliche, that was a word salad presentation by Kamala Harris. So when the actual program airs on 60 Minutes on Monday night, a day later, guess what? It's a shorter, more succinct, more intelligent response. So if you're suspicious of what CBS is doing, you're going to say, "Oh, I see what they did."
Right.
They were covering for Kamala Harris. They didn't know it was going to hit the fan, and when it did, they went to the shorter, more intelligent version. Well, you can't take a question. By the way, this is a rule. You can't take a question and attach a different answer to it. You can't do that. And if they did that, that may be why they're not releasing the transcript.
I hope not, because that would be a scandal. I don't think Whitaker would do it.
Whitaker wouldn't have the say. The 60 Minutes producers get in the editing room. Whitaker's busy doing his on-camera.
Whitaker screened it before it went on. Had to. All right, final question. This is a personal beef of me. All right, now I'm airing a personal beef. So I write a letter to Jane Pauley. Do you know her?
No.
Okay, I don't know her either. Never met her. She looks like your kindly aunt. She looks like somebody who would give you a nice present on Christmas or Hanukkah. And I say, hey, I'm sorry we've never met, but I have a hot new book coming out, Confronting the Presidents, and I'd very much like to talk to you about it on CBS Sunday Morning. Okay, now I knew, I thought she would reply, by the way. She didn't. I knew I was never going to get on there because we researched CBS Sunday Morning. They have not used one non-liberal author this entire year. Not one. Every author they've had on has been liberal. What's going on over there?
Oh, please, Bill. No, that can't be true. I'm shocked. Listen, here's what I'll give it to you in a sentence. When you have a liberal culture or on cable TV, a conservative culture, you're going to be in that kind of bubble. And inside the bubble at CBS, inside the liberal bubble, Bill O'Reilly is not the most popular guy in the world. Even though I'm reading the book, I find it fascinating. I'm right there with Benjamin Harrison and these guys. It's a good book. It's a very good book. That's not the issue. Bill O'Reilly is the issue. And it's not a conservative book, by the way.
No, not at all.
Bill O'Reilly. So if you're in a liberal culture, you are going to see things to the left of center as middle of the road, as reasonable.
But it's a blackout. It's a total 1950s blackout.
Because they think
all of the networks, all of them.
Hey, listen, Bill, I had a #1 book in the country too at one point. It was called Bias, about liberal bias in the news. You think I got on CBS News with that book? Now, it's different. You're writing about the presidents. I was writing about CBS. Okay, not a great example, not a great analogy. But they control the gates.
Absolutely. They control the game, but people should know about it. All right, go to BernardGoldberg.com. Read Bernie's column on CBS. Appreciate Bernie. Just make sure you don't go to any big cities because the storms will follow you, and we have to be careful there. All right, listen up, because you have worked hard to protect your home and your hard-earned equity. And there's a threat out there you probably haven't even heard of: title theft. The FBI calls it house stealing. Scammers can literally transfer your home's title into their name, take out loans, drain your equity. You might not even know it's happening until it's too late. That's why you need triple lock protection from our friends at Home Title Lock. Their system gives you 24/7 monitoring, instant alerts, and restoration services if you are attacked. Here's the deal. Go to HomeTitleLock.com. Enter the promo code BILL30, and you'll get 30 days of triple lock protection free, plus a complete scan of your home's title to make sure you are in the clear. Remember, 30 days free. Title scan included. Use promo code BILL30 at HomeTitleLock.com or visit the link below. The Federal Reserve has dropped interest rates, so you need to call my friends at American Financing today. With mortgage rates in the fours, it's a perfect time to consolidate debt and reduce your monthly expenses. Now, many of us have been forced to use credit cards due to the cost of groceries, utilities, even childcare. And thanks to insanely high credit card rates, that debt becomes even more expensive. But American Financing helps homeowners, just like you, save more than $800 a month on average. They're even closing in as fast as 10 days. You can close it all in 10 days. And if you start today, you might be able to delay the next 2 mortgage payments. There's no upfront fees. To find out how much you can save, please call American Financing, 888-462-9557, 888-462-9557, AmericanFinancing.net/bill. Okay, now remember, for most of this campaign, Democrats have been saying that crime is dropping in the USA. I told you very early on that was bogus. It wasn't true. And now we know it wasn't true because the FBI has revised its stats. And you will not hear this on any network being reported. So the latest stats are from 2021 to 22. Initially, the FBI said, hey, crime's down almost 2% in the USA. And everybody went, oh. But now they go, no, we made a mistake. It's up 5%. This is violent crime. Up 5%. That's a lot. Now, it's up way more than 5% because the liberal DAs brag in New York City, the guy in LA, the guy in San Francisco, the guy in Chicago, they don't prosecute crimes, even violent crimes. So there's no reportage because they drop the charges or bust them down to misdemeanors. So that's the big con. So next time you hear Kamala Harris or some Democrat go, oh, crime's going down, no. Now, Christopher Wray should be fired immediately, like 30 seconds after Trump wins, if he wins. Wray is out because Wray did this, ginned this up. Boy, FBI, huh? CBS 60 Minutes, trouble in River City. So there is a group, and we're checking this group out, may have it on Monday, called the Center for American Rights, okay? It's a nonprofit public interest law firm, seizes on opportunities to expand freedom. All right, sounds good. They filed a formal complaint with the FCC, Federal Communications Commission, about 60 Minutes, saying that it edited the Kamala Harris interview with Bill Whitaker in a dishonest way. Now, the Center for American Rights, I don't know how they know that, but they filed a complaint. But all they're asking for is the transcript of the interview to be released. And it should be. CBS getting pounded. I mean, their reputation is shot as a news agency over this. Hey, put it out. How bad can it be? Maybe it's bad. I don't know. All right, Smart Life. We're giving you the citizenship quiz. And if you are a foreign national and you apply for American citizenship, you have to go through all kinds of things to get that. It's worth it. This is legal. You know, you're not sneaking in anywhere or doing anything. So you got to pass the citizenship test. And over the past few days in the Smart Life segment, we've been showing you some of the questions. So here it is tonight. We elect a U.S. senator for how many years? Do you know? That would be 6. You should know that. Second question. We elect a U.S. representative, congressperson, for how many years? 2. And that's why Congress people are so vulnerable because they need money to run every 2 years. And Nancy Pelosi says to the House Democrats, unless you do everything I say, we're not going to give you any money. Boy. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.